Welcome to this episode of WW2 Wayfinder. We got a few things to talk about. Right, so first off, full disclosure. This isn't a usual episode of WW2 Wayfinder. There's a couple of reasons. There's some things we need to talk about, namely involving the platform, as in where you're watching this video, and current world events. And then part two of this is going to be more of a channel update. So stick around, this is important. So before we get to the main meat of this video, we need to rewind it back a little bit. 2022, around April, May time, was the genesis for this channel. And it was suggested to me that I set up a YouTube channel and document the places that I visit when I go to Normandy, the Ardennes, and just other World War II sites that have got cool stories attached, possible then and now locations, etc. So I did that with the intention of just kind of documenting these stories. There was no real strategy to any of it, all right? It was very much a case of, let's just go and go to some of the places in Normandy I know, some of the cool 101st Airborne locations where my grandfather landed on D-Day on Gold Beach, and go and look at these places, film them, have a drone, try and bring some aerial footage into it to try and really show yourselves what the landscape is like today. And hopefully over those 3 years, those of you that have been with the channel from the start, or those of you that have joined the channel and gone back and gone, whoa, yeah, this lad's improved a bit, with my video editing and my B-roll and all that good stuff. Hopefully, you've liked what you've seen. And I really enjoy doing this. Now, I've been to Normandy. I've been fortunate enough to have been going to Normandy since 2004, which feels like a lifetime ago. It also feels like yesterday. I haven't gone as much as I would have liked, but I am very aware that I've been in an exceptionally fortunate enough position where I've been able to to go to Normandy and see these places. Same with the Ardennes, go and see where the Battle of the Bulge was fought, go to these notable key locations, these really important places when it comes to world history, our shared history, regardless of, all the popular stuff these days, race, religion, creed, colour, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's all part of our shared history, because everybody, pretty much, certainly in the West, and I would argue, certainly like Eastern Europe as well, has a family member somewhere in their lineage that fought in World War II or the Second World War or the Great Patriotic War, depending on where you're from in the world. I've always been really passionate about it. I mean, I've collected World War II militaria, uniforms, helmets, equipment, all the good stuff for about as long as I can remember, and made models, model tanks, predominantly model aircraft. I've got to admit, got into model tanks a bit later on. But I've been into this piece of history, this critical piece of history now for a long, long time, for over 30 years. Really, there isn't a point in my life that I realistically remember. Sorry, that's just the local train. Yeah, it's kind of a crappy place to film, but sorry about that. Yeah, there isn't really a point in my life that I can remember without having had a book at hand that talks about World War II. So when I set up the channel and I got a year into it, and I was very lucky, very fortunate to gain over 1,000 subscribers and then achieve. YouTube has a metric, right? If you want to monetize a channel on YouTube, there's no real science to it, but I had no idea about any of this before I started. You need 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 public watch hours, not of short form, not of like the 30-second or 1 minute reels, the the up and down footage that you typically might view on your phone, but like 4,000 hours of full-length documentaries. Okay, so somebody's got to sit down and watch 4,000 hours worth, and then something happens. You, hopefully, if your content's acceptable, you get accepted into the YouTube partnership program. And I was lucky enough to achieve that. Now, I was really chuffed when, and sorry to put it out in America, I was really pleased when I got accepted into that, because I had no idea. I know myself well enough. I thought, oh, no one's really going to want to like watch my stuff. No one's really going to be too interested. But if I can get 1 or 2 stories out there, that's pretty cool. Kind of very, very low level kind of sights I set for the channel, thinking, hopefully if I'm lucky I might make it. But you look at the stats, most channels don't. So I was kind of thinking, all right, well, let's be realistic. Let's go with the majority, because I don't know, never done this before. Art was not my thing at school. I got an ungraded GCSE. So for everybody in Britain that's watching this and you've done GCSEs, to get a U grade, it means you really screwed up. And I'm happy to admit that, because, I couldn't paint pictures to save my life, but I can appreciate good art. But all that aside, so when I got that, and then the channel from June 2023 for about a period of 10 months just took off. View levels were crazy. At one point I was getting around, I think, between 200,000, 400,000 views in a 48-hour period. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe I've been fortunate enough to get in this. And I was watching my subscriber numbers grow, and it was amazing. And I suppose it's a bit of a dopamine hit. You get that rush. You think, wow, this is quite something. Being able to share these stories and to know that there's a lot of people out there, including these lovely mosquitoes, and not the wooden ones used by Bomber Command. I thought it was great being able to share this. And then this year rolls around, and everything was going great. And then I started to put out a few videos post Normandy, so post June, so really realistically looking in the past 8 weeks or so, sort of give or take. Maths was never my strong point, so just kind of take the figures that I say with a bit of a pinch of salt. And I started to notice quite a decline in views. And thought, okay, all right. Initially was a bit sort of taken aback by that, but kind of like Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. I thought, okay, well, we'll keep putting content out. And then I put my Verdun video out, I think 2 weeks ago, and essentially it was dead on arrival. For a channel of 175,000, I think it was at the time, 176,000, I don't know exactly what the subscriber count was. To get such low views, I was like, oh, okay. And then I started to do a bit of digging. And excuse me if I do kind of talk a little bit in riddles, because of certain policies here on the platform, and I'll put that up on the screen for you so you can see what I mean. It's my suspicion that history and history content across not just this platform, but the likes of Facebook and Instagram is being suppressed. Now, I have nothing to really base this on, okay? This is looking at the stats and going with my gut. Now, by trade, by profession, I'm not a historian. I'm a keen amateur, and yes, I'm not. I don't have letters after my name from a society that says I'm a historian. I'm an engineer, okay? And I have been for the past, I don't know, God knows how many years now. So when I see statistics and combined with my gut feeling, I kind of err on the side of, yeah, there's something up, something's not right. Now, what year is this? This year is 2024. What major event is happening in the autumn or the fall of 2024? I'm sure if you're watching this from the US or from the Western world and are able to pick up a news source and read it, you will know that, I don't know, let's maybe call it a verbal boxing match is going to take place around November time. and there's two key contenders for this verbal boxing match that's going to happen in November. And the winner of that fight, the winner of that contest, is going to go on and be able to do some pretty important things. They're going to, you know, have some pretty important responsibilities. And yes, I know I'm understating this and kind of like skirting around, but obviously for the sake of this platform and for the sake of keeping my nose clean with it, because I have to, then you'll understand why. So realistically, what am I getting at with that statement? This contest coming up in November 2024. Well, it's my suspicion, and I've been lucky enough to talk to other YouTube history content creators, JD from the History Underground. And by the way, if you haven't, please go and subscribe to him. Yeah, I know there's a lot of you that he sent my way and who have subscribed off of JD's recommendations. But if you're not familiar with him, please go check him out, okay? I'll put all the details down in the description for you. Also, Greg from World War II Recon, again, his channel will be down in the description. We've chatted about it and we've looked at our viewing figures, and there is a noticeable big reduction in views. Right, now I'm going to shut up for a second because there's a big train coming right past the track, okay? So we'll just let this thing go past. It's a big one, very big. It's really big, in fact, it's really big. Whew. Just let that fade into the distance there. Yeah, so speaking with those guys about content views, you know, because obviously if you're on a YouTube page, you get the all the stats and everything come like behind the scenes. It's stuff that only you can access as a person who runs the channel. There's like a 75% reduction in views. And this is kind of crazy. This is from now to this time last year, roughly. Now, it's not an exact science, okay? Like I said, I'm not really great with numbers. Yeah, that should worry you because I am an engineer. No, only kidding. I can sit down and work it out on paper, but trying to do like mental arithmetic is not my strong point. But, you know, approximately between sort of 60, 75% reduction in viewing figures, which is really telling. Now, my personal belief, and like I say, I have nothing to base this on, okay? Could be because my content is crap and no one wants to watch it. And if that's the case, we'll kind of come on to that in a bit. But if it is what I think it is, then yeah, it's just kind of concerning. And I think it's because there's this desire to keep anything of any sort of patriotism, however you as an individual, by the way, view patriotism. But looking back to what I would certainly call more old-fashioned values, ones with more purpose, ones that are actually good for society. And, you know, please, let's keep the comments civil. It's not about the two attending the verbal boxing match in November. I don't mean that. I just mean more in a wider societal sense of good morals and values. And yeah, I think that history content across not just this platform, but Facebook and Instagram as well, is being suppressed at the moment. For example, on Instagram is a wonderful platform, by the way. I like it from a personal point of view because Facebook, you never get to see what your friends are up to really anymore, and just because of the way the scroll feed works, it's purely based on advertising, whereas Instagram is still more those accounts that you follow. 99% you'll get recommended, or sorry, it'll show up in your feed the photos of what your mates are up to, and I really like that. But it does have a problem with history accounts. Now, I'll mention a few more Instagram accounts here. So World War II Recon, Lee Enfield Project, and History with H, and the History Chick 1941. We've all spoken at different times, and we've all had content banned. We've been what's sort of called shadow banned. So basically nobody can see our stuff. So we'll put out new content on that platform, and it doesn't come up in anybody's feed. So essentially you could be putting out 100 videos and nobody will see them that isn't already subscribed to your Instagram page, which is really crap. And it's really crap considering I put up a few posts and they all got flagged. There's 5 of them. And it said, oh, it's all to do with, we're flagging this because we believe this is to do with either alcohol consumption or, you know, prohibited drug taking. And I'm like, right, well, that's BS to begin with, because clearly I deal with history, not with alcohol or drugs. I've got interest in alcohol, I do like beer. Drugs, nah, not bothered. Never has, never will. If you give me a pint of real ale, and I will critique it like there's no tomorrow. But to have a book review especially flagged for this, and if you've seen it on Facebook, it was a book review that I put on Facebook. I'll put it up on the community tab here as well if I haven't already done so. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It detailed a few books that I will do some book reviews on my Patreon. So if you're subscribed to me on Patreon, if you're at the right tier, you'll get to see those book reviews. If not, details of my Patreon are below, and we'll come on to that as well in a little bit. But yeah, it flagged that for alcohol and illicit drug use, which is just utter BS. Now, it is an automated algorithm, but still, clearly, the people at Instagram must have bought the cheapest, nastiest algorithm to think that a book review, and it is a post about book reviews, you know, I will make sure the text is copied across verbatim, to think that that's talking about marijuana or showing somebody smoking marijuana or, you know, consuming alcohol, then yeah, it's crap. And I think, you know, and I've had another thing as well. I've had numerous hits on my account over the past few weeks and months, shadow banning me. And you never get a notification. You never get told. You never get a notification that your content has been hidden. You have to go and search for it. So now kind of every day I check it first thing when I wake up just to see and hope that it's all okay. And the reason I do that is because there's a lot of really cool people on Instagram I like to share it with. You know, I've made some really good connections on there. It's a great way to see what other people in the history community are up to, seeing the different things they're doing. You know, so I'm going to keep doing it because IG can, you know, effectively do, and I'm going to keep using their platform, and I will stick to their rules, but they definitely don't make it an easy thing to do. So Facebook's kind of the same as well. You know, noticed like varying interactions on there with different posts. And again, right, this could absolutely just be the case of the majority of people don't like what I put up, and I'm okay with that because, you know what, I like it. They're my channels. I'm just going to share what I like because that's what I want to do. If you like it and you want to keep following, great. If not, there's so many other cool content providers out there. If that's your thing and you want to follow them, it's free-ish world. You know, by all means, go ahead and do so. But if you do want to stay with me, and I genuinely appreciate it, I love the interaction that I have here on YouTube. You know, it's a very positive community, I feel, for the most part. I do get some wonderful comments, which I do occasionally share on Instagram as well, when, you know, my 22 years in the military sarcastic humour gets the better of me, and I respond to some of the really stupid stuff that people put up on here. Yeah, you know, guess what? I'm not going to stop doing that either, because sometimes a little bit of sport is good for the soul. But on the positive side of things, there are so many people on this channel that I've spoken with through YouTube who seem to genuinely appreciate my work. And, you know, I am hugely grateful for that. I appreciate that. Basically, if you're watching this, if you're still listening to me, you are essentially my customer, or admittedly my product is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Well, it costs you your time. So I need to make sure that whatever I'm talking about is worthwhile. So let's leave the whole is social media suppressing my content thing where it is. The positive person in me says, I hope not. The engineer, the cynic, and the realist in me says, yes, absolutely. For what purpose? Who knows? But it's definitely not just happening to me, which is kind of reassuring, because at one point I was thinking, okay, cool. I've missed the sort of mark of what people want to see, and I've gone way off it, and I'm just producing dross. I mean, if I am, please again get in the comments, but don't just say, yeah, your work's crap. You can say that. I'm a big boy, and this isn't a pity party either. But do please let me know where I can improve. It's really easy to say work's crap, but okay, give me the so what then. What do you expect? What would you like to see? So for a channel update then, this is probably a more important thing. The channel update. Where's the channel going to go? What am I doing? Well, first of all, for those of you who are watching this and don't really know much about me, and I'll be honest, I kind of kept myself a little bit candid, I'm being candid, but for the majority of the time on this platform, I've been quite elusive, I suppose, about myself. It's probably my innate fear of social media and putting too much out there. But after 22 years in the Air Force, I'm getting out, I'm going into the real world, going to go get a proper job. I'm also just coming up to an international house move. For anybody who knows the trains, they'll know that the train that went past earlier was not a British train, but I am moving back to Britain. So on a positive note, lots of British content to come. But that's why I've been so fortunate to tour so much of Europe, because I've lived in Europe. So there's that. So yeah, a lot of real world stuff going on, like actual personal stuff. I've also got a young family, and they require my time. I work full time. So everything that I've done with this has all been in my own time, in the evening, at weekends, family trips away. More often than not, behind the camera is my family. And I'm trying to educate my kids and explain to them all about World War II, the reasons behind it, the vehicles, the equipment, the units, the important dates. Twofold, the UK education system, as far as I'm aware, it certainly didn't when I was at school, doesn't really go much into the Second World War. It doesn't cover the important stuff, it just covers the build up to it. And as interesting as that is, there's far more to the story than when the education system stops on the 1st of September 1939. So trying to give that to them. And if I'm kind of missing the mark with my content, then I'm still going to go to these places. I'm still going to record stuff to a point. But what I won't necessarily spend as much time doing is documenting the battles, the small unit actions, the stuff that I really enjoy for YouTube, if I am indeed missing the mark. Because you know what? I'd much rather not take the time that it takes me to research all of this content, because I might spend, for a big trip especially, I will spend I'll start 2 to 3 months out researching, trawling archives, going through, collecting information, so on and so on, working out places, routes, costing it all out, and going through all of that to then spend the time there, take the time whilst I'm there, taking time out doing it, and then coming back and then doing the post-processing stuff, the editing, which to try and get it up to a reasonable standard does take a long time. And I'm also a computer biff, so kind of computer illiterate. I mean, I'm not, I put myself down a little bit, but everything that I'm doing is self-taught. I've not done any courses, I've not paid for any tutorials. I ironically watched YouTube tutorials and learnt myself how to bring this all together. So there's a lot of my personal time and energy and personal expense invested in the channel And you know what? Fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. But I want to make sure that what I'm doing is good value for yourselves, because like I say, you're taking your personal time to view my work, and there's a ton of competition out there. You know, there's so many good content creators out there that I'm not the only one who you want to watch. So I need to make sure that my stuff's good. I suppose at the end of the day, it's kind of like, yeah, I need to be competitive, and I don't mean I've got to beat the competition. I just mean it's got to be worth your time. You got to sit down, you got to enjoy it, you got to think it's worthwhile. Yeah, so I want to make sure that anything that I produce is good value for you. I want to ensure that it's good value for me. And what I mean good value for me is I don't mind putting all that time into the research. I kind of really enjoy that. I'm a book nerd anyway. There's never a book too far from my hand, because I always just love reading about this topic. You know, I think I've probably got 5 sci-fi books on my bookcase, and everything else is geared purely toward World War II. So, you know, for me, the return on my time is getting views. Because the channel's monetized, by getting those views, the ad revenue through the YouTube Partner Program accrues over the course of a month and then is paid out like a paycheck. And what that enables me to do is take that money, and I'm not living some lavish lifestyle. I'm not, you know, driving the latest flashy car or anything. So I take that money, reinvest it in the channel, either in new cameras, because it's taken me, like, I had a GoPro, kind of found the limits of that. I had a digital SLR, which I use for aviation photography, which is another passion of mine. But I tried to film with that, it didn't really work. I'm now on a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Sadly, none of this stuff's cheap. So the money I generate from that goes back into new equipment to try and up the production value. It also naturally pays for fuel, accommodation, and anything else that might be associated with the episode, so that I'm able to travel to these places and to bring this content to you. And, you know, I'll be honest, history content on YouTube, the pay is crap. And again, I didn't know that before I started out, and I'm actually kind of okay with that because my viewing figures were okay. With the decline in viewing figures, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just kind of really, really scraping it here and using my own money. Again, fine with that. It's not a problem. This isn't a pity party. This isn't, you know, me saying, oh, woe is me, I'm triggered, or, you know, I need thoughts and prayers. Generally, I really don't. I'm pretty robust when it comes to stuff like that. It's the joy of being sort of mentally abused, as it were, for 22 years in the military, in a good way, because it's made me pretty resilient, if I'm honest. So this isn't, as I say, woe is me. It's just kind of explaining some facts about doing a YouTube channel. So I hope with that it's kind of giving you an overview of what it's like to be a history content creator on YouTube. It's not like, say, the channel Dude Perfect, which my kids love, and I've got to admit, I've watched some of their stuff, and, you know, hitting golf balls, massive ones, out the back of a C-17, you know, 800 foot over a drop zone. Like, what's not to like? That's pretty cool. You know, I'm sure their ad revenue through that and through their other revenue strands is really good, and it allows them to keep doing their content and do it full time, and then have a production crew and bring it to a really, really super polished high standard and do some pretty crazy things. Apologies for the noise in the background. There's another train going past again. But I'm just a guy on his own doing this for a hobby. I really enjoy it, and I want to keep sharing these places with everybody on here, because the amount of people that have said thank you so much for bringing this place to me. I'll never get to travel there myself. I never thought of that aspect when I started this channel. But you know, that's kind of one of those things that like really slaps you around the face, and you go, oh shoot, I'm like actually in a very privileged position here. You know, I'm physically able to, I'm financially able to. I have the time. I have an understanding family that allows me to go and do that. And I'm exceptionally grateful for all those things. And my family as well is exceptionally supportive as well. It's not just they allow me to go and do it, but they're exceptionally supportive of what I'm trying to do with all of this. And I'm, you know, beyond grateful for that. It's sort of the kind of things that many people could only hope to wish for. And I'm, you know, sat here, fat, dumb and happy with it all in my lap. And, you know, I really do appreciate it. So please don't ever think that I'm not, okay, because I am. And being able to bring these places to people that aren't able to travel for whatever reason, be it, you know, health, finances, time, family commitments, God, you know, so many things out there prevent us from doing things. But to be able to share a little bit of this and bring back memories for people, you know, I had it on my Colditz video, saying, oh, I visited there after the Cold War, after the wall came down. You know, crazy to see it again. It's changed a lot, but it's still the same. And, you know, to be able to rekindle those memories in people, again, that's I think a very special thing to be able to do, quite a privilege, but one that I never really thought of when I started the channel. It's a really cool, really nice byproduct of doing this work. What am I looking at doing with the channel, with World War II Wayfinder in the future? Well, I've got a few things planned. I've just been lucky enough to purchase a new drone, which is for hopefully some new stuff next year. And say, it can't be this year because of house moves and job changes and family commitments and all of that stuff. But that's in the pipeline. It's coming, hopefully. What else? Yeah, so I have my Patreon, and I deliberately set my Patreon account up not with the view of really making, sorry guys, I'm getting eaten alive here. Not with the view of trying to make a ton of cash off of it. So I set the first tier at £1 or $1 or €1, I think. Kind of went with those three denominations, those three currencies. So if you do want to support me, if you want to support the channel, and again, please don't think I'm begging for this. I'm really not. I think I've advertised Patreon maybe like 4 or 5 times in the channel's history, maybe a little bit more, but not really. Then, you know, Patreon's an option if you think what I'm doing is worthwhile. There's other tiers on there, but I always just say, look, you know, it's £1 a month or $1 a month or €1 a month if you're in Europe. And, you know, so over a 12-month period, that's $12, £12, €12. I can do some maths. So it's kind of like a couple of expensive coffees, or maybe an expensive coffee and then a small one to go with it, which I suppose is actually 2 coffees. So I told you maths, it's not the best. So yeah, there's that. And I have started to make a real effort with posting a lot more content on there. Again, if you're on Patreon, please get on there or comment in here. In fact, actually, for the sake of this video, please just comment in here what you would like to see on my Patreon, or what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. Just let me know. And the same goes for these videos. You know, I love my then and now work. I am really passionate about then and now photos. There is something to me about standing on a spot where photos were taken back in, you know, between 39 and 45 that just makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up. You know, I get a real rush from it. Always have done, always will, you know, long before this channel started, and it'll be long after this channel's finished. I just think it's really, really cool. I love to see how things have changed, and I also, even more so, love to see how things haven't changed. Probably because I've always got one eye on the past. But I love doing that work. So if you like that, just let me know. My next episode is going to be the second part of Done. So I hope you enjoy that. But what worries me about that is, you know, I put out Otto Scorzani's raid and the Fallschirmjäger raid at Gran Sasso to rescue Mussolini in September 43. Again, it kind of died on its arse, and that was quite disappointed because I personally felt Gran Sasso was a really interesting place just because of the sheer amount of photos that were taken by the Germans during that raid. And I've got loads of other Italy content as well, but I'm going to put it out. I'm just a bit hesitant because I just think it's a shame that it doesn't necessarily get the views. But one thing you can do to try and help that is hit the notification bell. If you hit that, that means that whenever I put a new video out, you'll get alerted. And for whatever reason, I've got about 8,000 people that have got that facility switched on out of 176,000, I think it is now, the channel's up to. So it's like way, way low, and it's below the YouTube average. So if you like my content, if you want to see it when it comes out, just click that notification bell so that it's like you get notified about every update. I do put a lot of content on here because I think it's worthwhile and I hope it's liked. So yeah, I just do that if you want to. So we do have a lot more content coming out, a lot more British-based stuff. Now that's going to happen throughout the autumn into the winter time and spring next year. But predominantly it's going to be World War II aviation related, and that's because I created, I set up and I run the Warbird Coffee Company. Now, if you've not heard of it, and that's okay, because I understand we are a very small operation, we essentially create great fresh roasted coffee and tea, all done within the United Kingdom, but we ship worldwide, and we are partnered with some of the key Warbird owners and operators in the UK. And you can find all that detail out in the links below in the description. But I'm going to be putting a lot of World War II aviation history content on my other channel, the Warbird Coffee Company, which is also here on YouTube. So I would love it. I really, really would. I'm trying to grow that channel as well. You know, it's another kind of revenue stream for that business, which means we can grow and do more. And like all of this, it's all trying to just grow and build and generate more interest. But if we can, it would be great if you would consider going on there, subscribing and following the channel. Content's slow on there at the moment, but there is so much to come, and there is stuff that just hasn't been seen before, okay? There's a lot of plans in place at the moment. I've just got to get to the point where I can actually enact them. So please, if you can, go and follow the Warbird Coffee Company on YouTube. You'll see it come up. I think we've got about 260 subscribers on there at the moment. So if you can, I would be ever so grateful. So yeah, there's that side of it. Said Patreon, you know, we've got the channel here. If you do have recommendations, please do let me know in the description. Other than that, everybody, all I can ever really say is thank you for taking time out of your busy days, because life these days is hectic. No matter who we are, days go like that. You know, it's ever so quick. It's just crazy busy, you know, all the time. And I appreciate you taking time out to listen to me tell you cool stories about World War II, but also I appreciate your time listening to this. You know, I think this is an important video. It's a bit of a monologue. Well, it's just a monologue. It's me rambling, I suppose, but I wanted to try and convey that I think there's, you know, stuff afoot that is way beyond my control. Don't have any proof. It's just a gut feeling based on statistics. And well, I've been around the block a couple of times now, and I know things are never as straightforward as they appear, especially where, you know, people in places of power are involved. So yeah, let me put that out there. So if you've not seen some of my stuff, what I would love it if you would do is just take a video that you really like, that you think is worthwhile sharing, and send it to a friend who might have an inkling of interest in history. You know, might just think, oh yeah, I'd like to see that, but haven't heard of the channel. It goes such a long way. And to just hit that thumbs up button as well. If you don't like it, don't be don't hit the thumbs down button. That honestly doesn't do the channel any good whatsoever. Sorry, I've got a mosquito on the screen, so there we go. Yeah, if you don't like the content, just scroll on by. Just don't hit the thumbs down button. There's no need. It doesn't do anybody any favors. And yeah, it's like the worst thing you could do to a small content creator. It really is. But yeah, if you like it, you know, thumbs up button, hit that notification bell, comment as well, because it all just like tells the algorithm the thing that YouTube looks at, say, right, is this content popular, to go and watch it, and they'll share it with more people. So it's like a lot of things in life, it's just a game. It's just a particularly tricky one with a platform, and yeah, you know, I know, like, I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech, freedom of belief, but you know, you use a platform like this, you've got to play by their rules, because it's all based on money and advertising. So it's all very well saying, yeah, but freedom of speech, and yeah, no, I 100% in principle, I get you. I'm not bigger than Google. I'm not bigger than YouTube. I don't have the ability to get an army of lawyers and go into bat for me. The reality of the situation is, if I want to do this, and if you want to keep watching it, there's rules that I have to play by. You know, it's like in football, you can't just like go and punch the opposition, be that American or English football. You know, you can't just go and punch the opposition in the head to take them out of the game, and then just go and score as many goals or as many touchdowns as you want. You know, you've got to play by the rules, and that's the same with YouTube. There's constraints that we have to work within, whether we, you know, agree with them or not. And yeah, just for the record, a lot I don't agree with, but hey, there it is, that's what it is, and I understand that. So yeah, I'll wrap it up there. I've rambled on for way longer than I thought I was going to. So if you've got to this point, yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. I appreciate it, I really do. This is a great thing to be a part of. Yeah, I might be the weirdo with the camera in a field talking to himself, but I think it's part of a much bigger community that's really positive. And I want to keep growing it. I want to keep doing this. I want to go to these places and bring you these cool things if I can. There's also plans for 2025 for more personal stuff, shall I say, tours. Yeah, we could use that word, I think, now. There will be a website coming out with details for tours. There's just a lot of stuff that I've got to put in place first. So yeah, that's going to be happening. But if you like World War II vehicles and want to go on tours, then yeah, you'll need to sign up to the website. But I'll put all that out in a separate episode when it's all good to go. But yeah, that'll be on WW2Wayfinder.com when it's ready. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I've only done one of these before, and that was when I saw the abomination that was the fence around the Bois Jacques, which still makes my blood boil to this day. So don't worry, next episode we'll return back to normal programming. That will all resume. It'll be Verdun Part 2. I've also got an episode coming up all about the US Army's worst blunder in World War II, my perception of it with the Rapido River incident, and yeah, some other very cool stuff from Normandy that hasn't been seen before. It's basically looking at the German retreat from Normandy back to the Seine River. So I hope you will stay with me for those. But yeah, other than that, everyone, thank you for those of you that have made it here, and I will see you all, I hope, in the next one.